Hi, I'm Steve Mignanti doing the junkyard crawl in rural Vermont with a 1964 Ford Thunderbird. Now, in total, 92,465 of these were built in 1964, of which only 9,198 were convertibles. This is a hardtop, so not a convertible, unfortunately, but something new for 1964 was a newly styled body, more angular and sharp than 1961 through 63s, which were smoother and rounder. So they went more angular, in fact, more angry, if you will. And here's our cover of Motor Trend magazine in September of 1963, previewing the 64s. Kind of a cool stylized illustration of camera guys shooting a commercial of the new Thunderbird right there in red. Very cool. I like these sort of what ifs. And these are actually previews. And there it is right there, an outline, a sketching of how the car would eventually look. They're pretty close. And again, very angry looking thing with those sort of shrouded, sunken headlights. And one thing about these things, these all came with the same engine, 300 horsepower, Z code 390 big block. The M code 393 2 carb of 1962 and 3 was no longer available in 64. So unfortunately, the big engines were no longer possible. Although Tasca Ford did put a 427 in one of these things and was one of a kind, which was built for Mr. Tasca, Bob Tasca. It still exists somewhere, I'm told, but this ain't that. This has the Z code. It's a 394 barrel, 300 horsepower, big block, a lot of torque to get this thing down the road. Take a peek at it. And there she blows. I'm not going to touch that stuff in there, but trust me, there's a 4-barrel Autolite or Motorcraft type carburetor in there, a bizarre little carburetor. Again, big block, gold valve covers on these things. The Thunderbird was a very expensive car. And these are also unit construction. You can see right here that the inner fenders are actually part of the car, the structure of the car. There's no frame underneath this, whereas previous Thunderbirds, the baby birds of 1955 through 57, were body on frame, but no longer with this stuff. They're unit construction cars. Coil springs up front, leaves in the back. Interestingly enough, coils would come along a few years later. Again, leaves in the back, coils up front, pretty conventional stuff. But again, unit construction is something unusual for a car this big. Of course, there's a lot of structures and boxes underneath to keep it from flexing too much. But again, a very angry looking thing. Something kind of neat is the hood scoop on this looks like it wants to suck in some air. Now, 55 through 7, these were functional, but on this thing, it's purely ornamental. Die-cast metal, looks like it wants to suck in some air. Feed that engine some cool outside air. Well, it goes nowhere. There's no openings. It doesn't function. It's just an ornament. But again, the M code triple carb engines and the performance aspirations were long gone by the time this 64 was built. Let's go around to the side and see what else we can learn. And getting back to this styling and the angular, more angry styling, this sort of sharp creased stuff here was new for 64, total redesign. A very formal roof line here, and tinted windows. Of course, AC cars generally had tinted glass, and the styling continued inside the car as much as outside. You can see the console, the bucket seats, and a very stylized instrument panel right there, wood grain and circular gauges look like they're sort of floating in mercury, very space age looking stuff, very cool. And the back seat has a wrap around, sort of like a martini bar look to it, like a lounge effect, kind of a cool thing. And again, very personal for a 4-seat passenger car. You might get 3 in the back, not very comfortable. So 4 passengers. The middle passenger in the back there had better like metal, because you're not going to sit in the back of this thing unless you're crammed in there. But again, 4-passenger car, Thunderbird here in its largest iteration. One thing about this, the scoop on the hood may be bogus, but there's a scoop on the back which is not. You see on the speaker panel back here, if you look inside, you'll see the vent right there. Inside, stale air gets exhausted out of that through this die-cast metal vent here, which is open to the air. So from the speaker panel out through here, so if somebody breaks wind inside the car or whatever, smokes a cigar, it's going to come out of here and refresh the air inside of the car. So ram air at the back, up at the hood, no such thing. And the tail lights are gone in this one here, but these had sequential lights, blinkers on these things, which I think were in their first year for 1964. The blinkers that go from the inboard to the outside with a sequential mechanical blinker that actually blink, blink, blink. There's a little breaker point in there. You actually hear them clicking. There's a little computer, a mechanical computer that controls those things. Can't show there because that bumper is gone. But again, dual exhaust standard fare on these things. Big 15-inch wheels. And again, disc brakes up front in 1965 is an option. These would have had big 10-inch or 11-inch drums all the way around. Adequate stopping power, but again, the price on this thing when it was new was $4,486. So that was the base price. Add on the AC, you're probably looking at $5,000, maybe even more. Power windows, all that kind of stuff is add-on bonuses. And again, no big engines here unless you're Bob Tasker. You can put a 427, put whatever you want in one of these things if you're Bob Tasker. But again, this has the basic 300 horse, 390. No 4 speeds, no 3-speed manuals. These things are strictly automatic. Cushion or fashionable cars for people, upward executives, if you will, sporty people who wanted to travel in style and comfort. And these would have fought against the Chrysler 300 Sport and the Buick Wildcat, the Riviera for that matter. Even the Studebaker Avanti would have been bought by a similar kind of a customer, similar to a personal luxury car with some style and appeal and performance too. So again, that's the story of this 1964 Ford Thunderbird hardtop. 92,465 of these things were built, and again, only 9,198 convertibles. This ain't one of those, but again, all had the 390, 300 horsepower, big luck under the hood. So if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe to the Steve Mag's YouTube channel and come back tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawl. Thanks for watching.